This is Manda Martini, and these are the legends left behind. The gay rights movement was powerful. Sparked by the Stonewall riots, the movement was fueled by marginalized figures who were often pushed away by those that they had fought for. The Gay Liberation Front was formed by some of these champions of human dignity. Stormy DeLavier was one of those exceptional people. Though she never conceded it, most historians and witnesses agree that she was the first person to throw a punch at the Stonewall Inn. Stormy's father was white and her mother was black, leaving young Stormy to walk in between two worlds, a place where she learned to thrive by growing a thick skin and a warm heart. She was a defender of the weak. She had a tongue so sharp few would dare to match wits with her. But she also knew how to throw a punch and was even a bouncer at some clubs in later years. Stormy had been on the scene as a drag king for years, having built a career at the Jewel Box Revue. The revue gave audiences a night of 25 men and 1 girl, hosted by a certain MC by the name of Stormy Dale. Stormy Dale, DeLavier's drag persona, would challenge audiences to try to pick out the one woman amongst the men on stage, and would even perform a song in a smooth baritone before revealing of the 25 ladies on stage, none were what they appeared to be, and neither was he. Stormy died in 2014. She had influenced fashion and had fiercely defended those she loved. She had protected many throughout the LGBTQ+ community, having patrolled the streets and bars, ready to step in if she came on any intolerance or bullying, or what she called spotting any ugliness for her girls. This self-identified butch lesbian was a strong activist for LGBTQ rights her whole life, and she was certainly not alone. Marsha P. Johnson was heralded as the Queen of Christopher Street. She was known internationally with her infectious smile and warmth. When asked what the P in her name stood for, she would blithely reply, "Pay it no mind." She radiated love and acceptance despite her hardships. During her youth as a black trans woman, Marsha was forced to resort to sex work. The danger she endured on the streets didn't make her hard, though. Instead, they gave her an insight she would pass to all those she encountered. One of her most poignant statements was, "As long as gay people across America don't have rights, there's no reason for celebration." Marsha died in 1992 under uncertain circumstances. Her body was pulled from a river near the Christopher Street Piers on July 6th. Police quickly deemed her death a suicide, having given the investigation little effort and having not followed up on credible leads. Her cause of death was reclassified undetermined rather than suicide following an investigation of the case by police. Her case was recently reopened and her death is still under investigation today. During her life, Marsha P. Johnson and her friend Sylvia Rivera founded STAR, Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries. Rivera would say that the organization was for the street gay people, the street homeless people, and anybody that needed help at that time. Many of the LGBTQ+ community, such as Marsha and Sylvia, were forced to live on the streets, a problem that persists to this day. Star House was created as a sanctuary, with Marsha and Sylvia acting as mothers to the youths in Star's care. At times, the mothers of Star House would resort to sex work just to earn enough to provide so that the children would not be forced to. Rivera was aggressive and loud. She was outspoken and contributed to the formation of Intro 475, the gay rights bill. Sylvia called out the Gay Activist Alliance for ignoring protections for trans individuals in forming the bill. It was understood that the GAA had deliberately left out these protections in trying to increase the likelihood of getting it passed. This became the theme in the story of trans rights. Despite her contributions to and the passion for the gay rights movement, she, along with the transgender community as a whole, were pushed to the back and left behind, often literally at many events, even pride marches. After having to fight her way to the stage and amidst jeers and boos of the crowd, she gave an angry, impassioned speech at Pride in 1973. In it, she decried the gay community's abandonment of the trans community. The gay community had discarded some of its hardest fighting comrades and allies. Sylvia faded into obscurity for years. She struggled with homelessness and addiction and attempted suicide in 1995. After getting sober, she blossomed. She volunteered at her church, spoke at activism events, and continued to fight for trans rights. She summoned members of the ESPA committee to her deathbed in 2002. When they arrived, she pleaded for the trans people to be included in the Sexual Orientation Non-Discrimination Act. After surprisingly lucid negotiations from the dying Rivera, they promised that they would ensure the trans community would have representation on their board and within Sonda. Sylvia died and Sonda passed. Sadly, it did not protect transgender people. ESPA had broken their promise. Once again, because of fear that the bill would not be accepted by the mainstream if trans protections were included, trans lives were ignored. The struggle endured. These legends and their stories pave the way for future generations to live unashamed and unafraid to step out into the light. Their story is our story, and we must tell it. We must continue to fight until all people are afforded the same rights and protections as everyone else, and that all people can be seen, heard, and embraced.